Welcome back to another episode of DuskMan. We spend our entire lives running from one inevitable truth, death. We diet, we exercise, we build fortresses of wealth, all to delay the end. But what if we've been fearing the wrong thing all along? This week, a young viewer sent our show a chilling question: what terrifies older people more than death itself? Instead of giving you our theory, we brought this question to a 68-year-old man. His answer will completely change how you treat your family tonight.
Soft chuckle, sighs. Wow, that is a hell of a question. I'm sure every old man my age could give you 1,000 different answers. But for me, and the few close friends I have left, perhaps loneliness is the greatest fear of all. I'm 68 years old. I've watched my hair turn white, felt my joints stiffen, and stood by the graves of men I once thought were invincible. I know exactly what the end of the line looks like. And let me tell you, dying is the easy part. It's just biology winding down. I am not afraid of it. But there is a quiet, devastating epidemic happening in millions of homes right now, and society actively looks the other way. We are sold this fantasy that if we provide for our families and retire comfortably, our final years will be a peaceful reward. I'm here to tell you that is a beautiful, dangerous lie. Picture a beautiful, quiet house. On the kitchen island, there's a pile of unopened boxes, expensive Korean ginseng, premium vitamins, a shiny new tablet sent via 2-day express shipping, gifts from successful children who are simply too busy this month. You hold that cold, expensive screen in your hands, its artificial light illuminating a dark, empty living room, and your chest physically tightens. Your heart literally aches. You look at those luxury items and realize the terrifying truth. To the people you spent your life protecting, you have become nothing more than a shipping address, an obligation fulfilled with a credit card. Don't you dare swipe away, especially if you are a younger man or woman watching this, because what I am about to explain isn't just an old man's emotional plea. It is the brutal, scientific reality of how isolation physically destroys the human body. I'm going to show you why the next expensive gift you buy your father might just be the exact thing that breaks him. People think loneliness is just an emotion, a temporary sadness. They are dead wrong. Biologically speaking, your brain doesn't know the difference between being socially isolated and being physically hunted by a predator. Evolution wired us to survive in a tribe. When you are separated from the pack, your primitive brain hits the panic button. It floods your system with cortisol. It creates chronic inflammation. Medical science has proven that prolonged isolation damages an aging body as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That is why we fear it more than death. Death is a quick flatline, but isolation, it is your own body slowly eating itself from the inside out, because it literally believes it has been left behind to die. Let me tell you how this biological panic actually looks in everyday life. It doesn't look like an old man crying in a dark corner. It looks like me taking 45 minutes to buy a single carton of milk at the grocery store. Why? Because asking the 20-year-old cashier, "Looks like rain today, doesn't it?" is the only real human conversation I will have all week. It looks like leaving the television on CNN or ESPN at high volume 24 hours a day. We don't care about the news. We don't care about the baseball score. We do it because the artificial voices bouncing off the living room walls create a ghost of a family. It tricks our primitive brain into thinking the cave isn't empty. And it looks like waking up at 3 a.m., grabbing your smartphone and scrolling through old text messages from your kids. just staring at a screen that hasn't buzzed in days, waiting for a digital pulse. We are men. We were raised to be stoic, to bite the bullet, to not need anyone. But you cannot out-tough biology. You cannot outrun the silence. Let me tell you something else that nobody ever bothers to ask. Another terrible unspoken tragedy of getting older is that the people you love most start treating you like you're already a ghost. It happens slowly. You're sitting right there at the Thanksgiving table, surrounded by your own DNA, and your kids start talking about you as if you are deaf or invisible. They lean over your plate and whisper to each other, "Oh, Dad seems pretty sharp today, doesn't he?" Or, "Do you think the old man is getting a bit confused?" I am still right here. My mind is still completely here. I'm not confused. I'm just quiet. And I'm quiet because you are talking around me, not to me. Without even realizing it, children unintentionally build coffins for their parents out of polite, dismissive conversations while we are still breathing. I know exactly what the younger people watching this are thinking right now. You're screaming at your screen. If you're so lonely, old man, why don't you just pick up the damn phone? Why don't you just tell your kids how you feel? It's a perfectly logical question, but it completely ignores the psychological prison that a man of my generation lives in. You see, we were infected with a very specific, very lethal disease early in life. It's called the male ego. From the time we were boys, scraping our knees on the pavement, we were taught one rule: don't cry, don't complain, beat a rock. We learned that a man's value is strictly tied to his utility, what he can fix, what he can pay for, what he can protect. So in our 20s, we built this massive suit of iron armor. We put it on to go out into the unforgiving world and fight for our families. And it worked. We won the war. We built the empire. But here is the unspoken tragedy of old age. When the war was finally over, we realized the armor had rusted shut. We forgot how to take it off. Do you know what it feels like to be the guy who used to carry his son on his broad shoulders? The guy who paid for the college degrees and the weddings, suddenly having to beg for a crumb of their weekend time? To look at my successful, busy 40-year-old son and say, "I need you. I am lonely. Please come sit with me," feels like a complete betrayal of my manhood. My ego tells me that if I admit I need them, I transition from being their hero to being their burden. And I promise you, an old man would rather chew off his own arm than become a burden to his children. So, what do? We sit in our expensive recliners. We let our bodies rot from the cortisol of isolation. We suffer heart attacks. We fade into dementia, and we die in silence because our ego convinced us that asking for love is an act of surrender. So, if you are a son, a daughter, or a grandchild watching this right now, I am handing you the key to unlock that rusted armor. I am giving you the exact blueprint to save your father or your grandfather from the quietest, deadliest killer on earth. Step 1. Stop trying to buy our peace of mind. I want you to go on your phone right now and cancel that Amazon order. Cancel the expensive massage chair. Throw away the catalog for those luxury golf clubs. Return the premium ginseng. We do not want them. To us, those boxes are just beautifully wrapped reminders of your absence. They are glossy tombstones you are placing right in the middle of our living rooms. Step 2, give us the only currency that actually matters anymore: your time. And I don't mean a distracted 2-minute phone call while you are stuck in traffic asking, "Did you get the package, Dad?" No. I want you to clear your schedule this weekend. Drive over to that dangerously quiet house. Bring a cheap pizza, sit at that immaculate kitchen island, and make a mess. Fill the room with the chaotic, loud, beautiful noise of your presence. Step 3. Ask the hard questions. Men of my generation don't know how to volunteer our feelings, so you have to pry them out of us. Look your old man in the eye and ask him, "Dad, what were you actually terrified of when you were my age?" Ask him, "How did you know Mom was the one?" Tell him about a problem at work and say, "I really need your advice on this." Make him feel useful again. Remind his primitive brain that the tribe still desperately needs the chief. Break the cycle of the male ego by being the first one to be vulnerable. Look at that stubborn, aging man and say the 4 words he is dying to hear but will never ask for. "I still need you." Tell him you love him. Say it out loud. Because I promise you this, the clock is relentlessly ticking. One day, very soon, that massive house will be sold to a stranger. The expensive watches will be auctioned off, and you will find yourself standing in front of a piece of cold granite in the pouring rain, staring at a name and 2 dates. And in that moment, you would trade every dollar you ever made just to have 5 more minutes sitting across the table from him. But ghosts cannot drink coffee with you, and the dead cannot hear your apologies. Don't speak your love to a tombstone. Pick up the damn phone before the silence becomes permanent.
I've been sitting here listening to your sharing, and as a young person, this is exactly the wake-up call I needed. I always thought I needed to make a lot of money to buy my parents expensive gifts so they could feel proud and honored. But that was a mistake. I realize now, I am the gift. The most ordinary, everyday moments with me are the most precious things to my parents. Thank you so much for your story. It truly means the world to us. And to our viewers, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope this conversation changes something for you tonight. Until next time, we say goodbye and see you in the next episode of DuskMan. Please comment your thoughts below and subscribe to the channel to support us. And remember, make that phone call tonight.